I love my mom, but she enables Forrest. She's a bit of a pushover. That's why he knows he can get away with anything he does.
Forrest is very, very good at manipulating people, especially my mom.
My mom brings food to Forrest once or twice a week.
I don't think buying Forrest food is necessarily enabling him, but I do think that her paying for his phone bill and buying him cigarettes is enabling him.
My mom doesn't have enough money to support Forrest. She barely has enough money to support herself, but she does make sure that the bills are always paid and there's a roof over his head.
My mom pays the electric, water, and gas bill and any other bills that need to be paid. The problem with Forrest is he has been spoiled his whole life.
My granny spoiled all of us, but Forrest was different. She paid his rent, all of his bills. She would hand him money.
Forrest got so used to my grandma spoiling him. He grew up with the mindset that everything would always be handed to him. He has no motivation or drive to do anything.
My sister and I would never allow Forrest to take advantage of us, and he knows that. Anytime he tries or even thinks about it, we shut it down immediately.
In Forrest's eyes, he can live rent-free and be completely away from society because my mom is taking care of him.
Forrest is 30 years old, and my mom providing and buying food for him cannot go on forever.
Okay, now here's the $64,000 question. Why is he that way and you two are not? You two launched. He stayed on the launch pad. Why?
Honestly, we're confused ourselves. We were raised the same, we grew up the same, so honestly, we can't tell you.
We're not sure where he got lost, but...
Did you two lock him in the closet and beat the out of him every day or something? Seriously, he is behaving like a 12 to 14-year-old child, no life skills, no ability to do anything because he hasn't gotten out and done anything at all. If we put him out of the house today and it was raining, he would just get wet.
Right. Oh, yeah. Or he would call our mom and ask to stay over there because, you know.
Barring her coming in and rescuing him,
right.
he
would be stuck.
He has no clue.
Right.
And you don't know why. No huge trauma, nothing.
Just the spoiling.
He won't even touch a doorknob. I mean, he gets his sleeve down.
Right.
And he's living in a Petri dish. I mean, look at this living room. God knows what fungus is growing in there.
Right.
Yeah, it's gross.
And so he's okay to live here, but yet he's a germphobe.
Right. That's what we don't understand.
That's why we believe the whole thing is just an act because, you know, pre-COVID, pre-everything, he was still doing this, so...
He wouldn't attend family events, Christmas, Thanksgiving, nothing.
He would actually cause arguments when we would invite him to birthday parties, family dinners.
But then he complains about being left out.
Right.
My son, Forrest, is ill-equipped for life, and he's clueless. I don't know where I went wrong. I am the one that's letting him live at my mother's house, but for some reason, I am the one he's angry at. He calls me an idiot, bitch, terrible mom, and a loser. I try not to enable Forrest, but I'm afraid he's going to starve to death, and I end up getting him more food. I've been buying groceries for Forrest for about 2 years. He's really worried about getting COVID from any food that's brought in. He sanitizes each and every item. I try not to buy him cigarettes, but I can see that he's going through withdrawals, and I'll get him a pack. Each week, Forrest manipulates me into giving him more money. It just never stops. I spend $300 a month on my son, but I'm on a fixed income. $35 a month on cigarettes, $30 a week on groceries, $200 a month in utilities, and $60 a month on his cell phone. My son doesn't seem to have a plan for how he's going to support himself. He's actually considered the possibility of trying to get on disability. They're not going to give him disability because he has no proof that he's disabled.
Leslie, it's good to meet you.
Good to meet you as well. Thank you.
You've been listening, right?
Oh, yes.
And has this been described pretty accurately with what you're up against?
Pretty accurately.
Anything you want to add, correct?
I do think he has some tooth problems that may be causing some inflammation and pain, but other than that, I don't think there's anything that's going to prevent him from working.
I know where y'all are from, and they have dentists all over the place up there, so that's no problem.
Well, it's just my income is pretty low right now. And
there's actually a dental school right there. You can take him to the dental school at the university.
And we actually made an appointment for up there, and when the appointment time came, darn it, he was sick.
Even an infant, when they get hungry enough, they'll eat. They get thirsty enough, they'll drink. We're talking about a 30-year-old man here. You say, if I don't bring him food, he'll starve to death. No, he won't.
Well,
he
he'll
will eat if he gets hungry enough.
He will go for 2 days without eating, and at that point, he starts to get a little woozy, and that's when I start to think, I'll take him some peanut butter, I'll take him some bread.
That's when he'll eat.
Good to know.
Do you think you're enabling him?
Maybe a little bit.
We tell her all the time she's enabling him because, I mean,
He just keeps promising he's going to get
He's
his act
lying,
together.
But why do
He's
you-
a compulsive liar. We've told you that.
why would you
knows-
believe anything that he's
Because
saying?
he knows that we're not going to have the house for him to stay at forever. I just keep thinking he's going to really understand that he's got to get his act together and get with the program. And
I kind of figured that he wasn't when I made him multiple Excel spreadsheets on how much money he could spend, an apartment, food. I even had 2 jobs lined out for him. It printed applications, and he blew it off.
Do you know why I'm not saying anything right now?
No,
Because they're brilliant.
they are.
They're telling you exactly what the situation is,
Right.
exactly that you're getting played, exactly how he's doing it, and that you're rewarding bad behavior.
I'm trying not to. I'm really trying to push him out of the nest. I really am.
The road to hell is paved with good intentions.
intentions.
And there's no doubt that you have good intentions. I want to bring him out here, but I don't want to bring him out here until I know I have you on my side. Because you are enabling him. You are the biggest obstacle I have right now. You're not responsible for him, but you are an obstacle to me getting him to do what he needs to do, because you're doing everything that makes it possible for him to continue to be non-productive. And you say, well, sort of, maybe, kind of. If you're kind of, sort of, maybe, kind of making excuses for it, then I really don't want you out here when he comes out here, because you're going to cave.
When I moved into my grandmother's, I was dealing with acute anxiety, paranoia, health problems that I'm still dealing with right now. It's a shock to me that I'm still living in my grandmother's house. It's embarrassing. The reason that I'm still living where I am is because I'm genuinely terrified of interacting with people. I have very bad problems with depersonalization. Most of these are self-diagnosed. I have trichotillomania. Trichotillomania is a disorder that involves pulling your hair and getting a release of endorphins from doing it. I've had to shave my head multiple times throughout my life to keep myself from pulling out any more hair. I have very bad derealization, and I have to constantly remind myself that I exist. I've self-diagnosed myself with having fibromyalgia. I've always had paranoia and anxiety. I have unrealistic ideology of things like being killed by an asteroid, atomic bombs, being killed by the universe ending in vacuum decay, dying of plagues. I have obsessive disorders. I would do things like wash my hands in a certain pattern. One thing I have a really big problem with is touching doors. They're very dirty. I won't even use any part of my skin. Ever since the pandemic hit, I sleep, I eat, and that's about it. I don't eat anything that is cooked by somebody else. Everything I eat is packaged. When I get home, I have to wash everything. Dr. Phil is an intelligent enough man to know that I have these problems. I would like him to convey that to my mother and sisters. I think he can help project to them these problems that I'm going through are very real and aren't made up.
So Forrest, how are you doing today?
I'm okay.
If you were going to change something about your life, what would you change it to?
Just to get up, be productive, you know, what a lot of people are like, but not anything like I am right now.
Is there something in your life you're passionate about?
I've always been very passionate about jewelry and music,
Listening to music or making music?
making music, production.
And do you take any steps that get you closer to your passion being part of your day-to-day life?
Not really so much anymore.
You say you have physical and mental problems, and you listed a lot of them, and they've gotten worse over the years. And there's quite a list. You say you're emotionally damaged, that your mom tried to get rid of you. You can't see your son. You got no money, you're depressed, you have anxiety attacks. Whew. Asteroids might hit you.
Yeah, I know these unrealistic scenarios that I have. I'm aware of how they aren't feasible at all and realistic, but I can't convince myself that they're not real to me, which is something I have a really hard time dealing with, and that makes me even more stressed out.
And I asked you what you were passionate about, and you said jewelry and music, and you didn't mention your son. You're not passionate about your child?
I don't feel like I have enough of a grasp on my life that I'm able to care for him like I should be able to.
Hey, Forrest.
Hey,
Coach Mike here.
Coach Mike.
Forrest, there's hundreds of homeless people around
I've
here,
seen
and
them.
it's really dangerous.
Yep, I
And,
noticed.
I know that you communicate to your family that you would rather be homeless than have to get a job, get working, make money, live on your own, right?
If we're just being blatantly honest, that's what I think.
Do you think it's harder to get a job and keep it, or be homeless and stay safe?
Probably to get a job and keep it.
This is Colleen.
Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
This is Forrest. He's saying that he potentially thinks he's going to end up homeless unless he gets together and gets a job. What advice do you have for Forrest?
I am telling you, if you think you want this, you are wasting your thought. They say they're happy and okay with it, they're lying to you. You don't have that home, you don't have that safe place, you don't have that safe haven.
Colleen, I appreciate you talking to Forrest. So underneath here, what we have is a tent.
It's a tent.
This is all you. This will give you practice.
It's difficult, and it's taking a lot longer than it should.
It's not quite the same when your friends aren't with you.
No, it's not fun at all.
And then what would you do for food?
Soup kitchens, and probably convenience stores and gas stations. You're not gonna help me?
Man, this is your deal. It is gonna be dark in a few hours. It's a different set of circumstances when it starts to get darker around here.
We're gonna be here a long time.
What happens when it gets really cold?
That's probably the part that I'm most stressed about.
I think we can both agree you kind of have a weak sister plan
Yeah,
in terms of your ability to survive on your own.
yeah,
Starting to have a change of heart, maybe?
yeah,
And by the way, this is the least stressful part.
I know.
We haven't even started being homeless yet.
I know.
We're just trying to put a tent together. You deserve to get on track and get the life that you really want. And we'll sit down with Dr. Phil and figure out what is an option for you that's gonna get your life on track.
I've been homeless, and I can tell you, I fought every day to keep my shoes, my stuff. I mean, every day I had to fight somebody for something. He's not cut out for this.
This is a tough life. I mean, Forrest can hardly survive in a house. How would he survive on the streets?
Yeah, because you're saying after a couple of days, he gets woozy because he doesn't have any chicken noodle soup.
Right.
That's in the living room of your grandmother's house.
Yes.
That we're talking
that's
about
right.
being on the streets,
Everything is harder. Every single activity you do day to day is harder.
and it's dangerous. It's just not a viable alternative if you have a choice. You're how old?
I'm 30.
Okay, I want to show you something. Let me have this out here. If you will, Forrest, hop down and come over here if you would. Stand on 30. That's your age. Okay, Mike, go down here to the end if you would. Okay, look what's behind you. That's how much of your life is behind you. And this is how much life is ahead of you. What the hell are you going to do for 55 years? Is your theory to sit on your grandma's couch for 55 years? You got to decide to do something with your, this is going to get really boring.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a long time.
Yeah. Indeed.
When you use an example like this, it seems a lot longer.
Forrest, let me tell you something. Right now, it probably looks insurmountable to get from where you are to where you want or need to be. You don't have to leap tall buildings in a single bound. Superman does that. You just need to change your behavior tomorrow. And then you need to change it the next day. And small changes accumulate into big results across time.
Do you think this is possible for you to change?
Oh, yeah, I think it is.
I do too. But but you think it's possible?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yes.
Okay, so what I've listed out are some goals, right? And the theme of it is you taking action and you being held accountable. Okay, so here's some goals we initially would set. It's flipping your schedule, wake up at a normal time, go to bed at a normal time, get your sleep schedule in the right place. Video games would be turned in, no video games for now because it's not working for you. Instead, we'd replace that with cleaning the living room. You're gonna be looking for a job, you're gonna be buying your own groceries, and you're gonna be getting physically and emotionally healthier. Now, you're probably going, how the heck am I gonna do all this? Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
I would have a coach working with you from Cast Centers who's gonna hold you accountable, who's gonna help you follow through with these goals. We're gonna set someone up locally who lives in your hometown who's gonna see you 5 days a week. It's gonna be someone who's a combination of a trainer, nutrition, health, cleaning, making sure, almost in kind of a drill sergeant way, that you're getting your life organized and on track.
Okay.
And then also we'd set them up with a therapist.
And so through Doctor On Demand, since we are in a pandemic right now, my son started the company, so I know it's a good one. I'll set 10 sessions up right now that you can do on your computer with a board certified and licensed psychologist that will work with you to talk about anxiety, depression, all of the things that need to be done. You're going to have a team around you of professionals that are designed to close this gap you're talking about and get you back into the world where you can get some joy and some fun out of life. And you guys are going to be the eyes and ears, and you're going to be reporting to the coach and telling them things, and the coach is going to be telling you what to do and not to do.
All right.
So you can help.
Their brother lives in
the living room of their deceased grandmother's house.
I'm living where I am because I'm terrified of interacting with people.
He won't even touch a doorknob, and he's living in a Petri dish.
New Dr. Phil. Check your local listings.